Welcome to Tech Voices. My name is Drew Bond, and I am the president and CEO of C3 Solutions, where we seek to identify and highlight market solutions, free market solutions in particular, to the world's greatest climate, energy, and environment challenges. Tech Voices, this series, is a live series where we get the chance to interview some of the most cutting edge technology voices from around the world. C3 Solutions is proud to host this event and other interviews as a part of our nonprofit educational mission. To learn more, please visit us at c3newsmag.com and subscribe to our newsletter. Now, with that, let me introduce our guest, our special guest today, John Carrington. John is a CEO and director of STEM Inc. STEM Inc. delivers battery storage solutions that maximize energy generation and help build a cleaner and more resilient grid. So John, welcome. How are you?
Good. Thanks, Drew, for having me. Good to be here.
Yeah, well, thank you so much for joining us. Where are you joining us from?
We're located in both Burlingame, California, and San Francisco. But as many of you probably know, we're a little bit remote still out here in California. So I'm in the office today, but one of the few.
Yeah. Well, so John, tell us a little bit about yourself and how did you come to STEM?
Sure. So I was really, most of my career was spent at GE. I was a little over 16 years there. And then Jeff Immelt, who was the CEO at the time, elected to sell the GE plastics business and asked me to be part of, I think it was like a 6 executive team, I guess, to do that. And we executed on that. It was a little over $12 billion deal. And then I got a call from First Solar, who was really trying to build out their commercial team, went and joined Mike Ahern and that team. And we took that from, I guess, a couple $100 million to $2 billion in a couple of years. So really great run, really started my affinity towards the renewable space, solar. And during that, we started to look at, she made an investment in Solar City. We started looking at battery technology and data. And I just thought that that was kind of the future of solar. And then John Doerr called when a lot of us were kind of looking at other things outside of First Solar. And I decided to become CEO of a company in their portfolio called Mia Soleil. And we ended up selling that about 18 months later, which was, I guess, 12 months later, which was really the objective of the major shareholders. And one of the board members at Mia Soleil introduced me to STEM's largest shareholder. And that's really what got it started. And I kind of talked to them about becoming a board member. One thing led to another, became CEO. And then I said, all right, I'll do this for a year or two. And as often happens, here we are 8 years later, but it's been an amazing journey and really has been a great outcome for the team, our shareholders, and our customers with what I think are the best days ahead. So that's kind of what got me here.
Yeah, well, congratulations. I'm always impressed with someone's background when they say, well, I took over a company and we was about half a million, maybe 500 million. Next thing we were 8 billion or more. So clearly you know how to grow companies successfully.
It was, yeah, I think we have over 950 sites now. I think we were about 6 when I got here and less than $1 million in revenue. We'll do about 150 this year. So it's been quite a ride, but look, great team and just thrilled to have the opportunity to run this and have such a great group around me.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about STEM and what is STEM? I think a lot of folks, when they hear STEM, they think about science, technology, engineering, and math, which is obviously relevant to your business and probably important to your future pipeline of talent. But just educate us on STEM and what are you guys doing?
Sure. Yeah, it's funny. I have a lot of people come up and ask me what, tell me their son or daughters in STEM and what do I do as part of that. But it's a little different. And what we are is we're a market leader in AI-driven energy storage solutions. And we really, as you kind of mentioned in the kickoff, we enable a rapid adoption of renewables on the electricity grid. And what we do is provide our customers a complete clean energy storage solution that includes the integrated battery hardware and battery optimization from our proprietary software platform that's called Athena. And what we do is we integrate this system and we deliver our customers reduced energy cost, reduced carbon emissions while helping stabilize the grid. Our customers are primarily CNI and commercial industrial or CNI. Think like Fortune 500, but we also have a large and growing group of asset owners and renewable developers. Obviously, the utilities and co-ops, we can talk a little bit about that, are also a big part of our business. On the CNI side, we deliver up to 30% monthly bill energy reduction for those customers. We also help reduce their dependency on conventional generation, and finally serve as a fast reacting reserve that can be called upon instantaneously to really supply energy when there's intermittency in the solar output. And we get paid for those services as well. So there's kind of this grid operator utility service that can pull from that CNI customer. That CNI customer has a battery on site that is working behind the scenes. We're not asking them to change their operation in any way. And again, they're saving up to 30%. And on the developer and asset owner, we can help them lever up their returns by 10 to 30%. So broad base of customers, front of the meter, behind the meter, developers, asset owners, and CNI customers is really our sweet spot.
Okay. And just to be clear, so are you a software provider, hardware provider, both? Where do you
Yeah,
sort of fit in that?
yeah, we really do provide both today. I mean, I think long term, the objective would be to provide through more just the software piece, but our current model contemplates the hardware. And I think that's just a function of where we are in the kind of the cycle of the business. If you went to a Home Depot or a renewable asset developer and said, hey, here's this great Athena software platform, they're going to say, how do I connect it to a battery? Which battery? So today we're providing the entire solution. And we look to be doing that over the next 3-4 years at least.
Okay. All right. And then, so how's business been? I mean, obviously 2020 was rough for everybody. I don't know how it was for you, but I mean, it seems to be a growing momentum globally for political reasons, for policy reasons, for technology, greenhouse gas reasons. I mean, I would expect there's a lot of tailwinds that are starting to kind of rise up, but I'm just curious to know, give us a snapshot of 2020 and now how does 2021 look and 2022
Sure.
and beyond?
Yeah, it's interesting. 2020 was actually much better than we expected. And I think because our sales team would say they could find every customer very quickly, where people were available more. The other thing that happened is particularly the CNI customers became very cognizant of energy spend. And I think chief sustainability officers, VP of energy, et cetera, began to look at that. And, if you're a lower margin company, let's say a Walmart, energy spend is a very material part of their earnings. So it's a really important component. I think people, particularly at the corporates, took it much more seriously than they had, gave them an opportunity to spend time on it. So we had a great 2020. And I'd say, coming into 2021, through the second quarter of this year, again, we had very, very strong results. We reiterated our guidance and EBITDA for the entire year. Our revenue year over year was up 339%. So we continue to see strong revenue growth, good gross margin growth, really driven by the Athena, the higher mix of our software services piece. And then there's another metric that we like to watch, and that's assets under management. And we're seeing a lot of momentum under that, as well as our pipeline acceleration. Our assets under management more than doubled year over year, and the pipeline's up 21% sequentially, and backlog's up 13% sequentially. So our pipeline, which stood at 1.7 billion at the end of June, is really significant and still growing. And on the backlog front, we had $184 million in contracts at the end of last year, and we're at 250 at the end of 2Q. So we think that 2021 will be a great year. We're continuing to see more and more visibility as the bookings get rolled up in the first half, more visibility into 2022. And so we feel like we'll have strong momentum going into next year.
Yeah, and you mentioned that pretty large pipeline. I mean, how much of that can you say is sort of domestic versus international, and where do you see the growth being?
Yeah, it's primarily domestic. We have grown significantly into Canada. We're doing some things in South America. We also have had success previously with our Mitsui, our partner, who is a shareholder over in Japan. But the majority today has been the U.S. based, and I would say that a lot of it's driven by our lack of balance sheet to go execute more globally. And we have a remarkable shareholder base that helped get us here. And if you look in Europe, that's the likes of RWE, Iberdrola, or Total. Over in Asia, I mentioned Mitsui. There's also Temasek. So we have this kind of inherent shareholder base that wants us to grow into those markets, has great influence, insight, customers in those markets. So we'll start to do more of that geographic expansion with the new balance sheet that we have.
Yeah, that's great. And then what you mentioned Athena. I mean, help us understand what is Athena? We hear a lot about artificial intelligence, and just curious to know how does STEM, a battery, software and hardware and services supplier, right, integrate AI, or am I even thinking about that right?
No, you are. And look, Athena is it's our proprietary platform. And today we're operating with over 40 utilities, 5 grid operators, and we have over 20 million runtime hours. And all of that data really creates a significant competitive moat. And as we continue to light our customers, we can really help them understand how to utilize Athena in their specific markets. The platform offers value streams, we think, in more markets with more asset types than anyone. And in fact, we have the ability to monetize 11 of the 13 identified energy storage value streams. So Rocky Mountain Institute's done a lot of work around this kind of wheel of storage. We also think we have the broadest offerings for our customers. And as I mentioned, operational in US, Canada, Japan, and more to come in South America. Wherever you have a big solar activity, look for storage to be there. We seem to be getting a lot of success and pull in a variety of different regions. And I'd say a couple examples around the Athena in action, if you will. Here in the US on the East Coast, as an example, we're earning revenue from 6 value streams. And again, that's out of 13 that I mentioned earlier. And that includes a variety of things like day ahead, real-time energy capacity, or frequency reg, coincident peak reduction. And all of this is being driven by Athena without any operational impact to those customers. So very exciting to see more and more of those value streams take hold. We think that we'll come in with 1 or 2 of those, and we look to take that all the way up as high as we can of those 13. But a lot of success on the East Coast, a lot of success in Massachusetts. We just recently announced that we're managing 52% at the end of June. Athena's managing 52% of the energy storage assets active in the wholesale market, ancillary services, and forward capacity settlement markets in Massachusetts. So that represents 20% of the storage facilities in ISO New England. So it's a real attribute to the power of Athena. And here in California, we've been called on over 20,000 times last year alone to help with grid congestion and events like wildfires. So it's really providing a meaningful and material support to these grid operators and utilities.
So that's an interesting point. So, because there you made the point that it's not just about saving money, it's not just about integrating renewables, but it's also about grid resiliency. And and you in fact have an op-ed running on our news magazine today talking about DoD and the importance of grid resiliency for the military community. I'm just wondering, writ large from a resiliency standpoint, and just as you think about your business plan. I mean, it seems like you guys have so much growth opportunity. Part of the challenge must be just managing all that growth, but where do you see any potential pitfalls?
Yeah, I think, well, first of all, I'd say the resiliency piece is becoming much more significant. Again, it's related to more wind, more solar, you're going to see greater intermittency. And storage is an ideal and optimal solution, we believe. Number one, it's very strategic where you place it. Number two, it's highly responsive. We can call on our assets instantaneously and provide support to the grid. And that's unusual. A gas peaker plant's going to take a little while to ramp up. And with battery cost declines like they are, from an LCOE standpoint, storage is right there on top of or below gas peaker plants, depending on your location. So it's pretty exciting. I would say that, from a general resiliency standpoint, we're seeing it from all areas. I mean, it's coming from the corporates, it's coming from the regulators, it's coming from the utilities. So we really believe it to be the best ideal solution around resolving that problem. And you're only going to see more of it as you get more and more solar and wind.
Yeah, so as we get more and more solar and wind, I mean, where do you see this market going? I mean, what are sort of the next innovations that are around the corner or that need to be around the corner?
Look, we're long lithium ion batteries. We still think that massive install base is probably the technology that will continue to carry the day. When you think about early days of solar, and I ran one of these companies, Mia Soleil, which had very compelling new technology, but it was hard because Chinese and First Solar and other module manufacturers had such a leg up from a bankability standpoint. And I think you're going to run into the same thing with some of these new battery technologies. Now, the good news is we can put Athena on anything. So we're happy if long duration works or flow batteries, because we can provide that opportunity to make those storage assets super intelligent. But I think lithium ion continues to carry the day. It's driven by more and more capacity put in from EVs. You're going to have the second wave where you can bring the EV second use battery to the grid. That'll be a very compelling opportunity because it'll be significantly lower cost than today, with probably a 10 or 15, maybe 20-year use case on top of what it had in the car. So we just think that it's going to continue to be lithium ion based in our view. But again, we're good with whatever technology comes out. I know there's a lot of talk around solid state, and again, Athena will be there providing the optimal use case and monetizing whatever those chosen battery platforms happen to be.
Yeah, and you mentioned second use. So, in the layman's terms, is that basically a recycled battery that's been put into use again? Because, as you know, this is a hot topic among some folks. Is like we're generating these batteries, we're putting them out there in the field. What are we going to do with that? And it does seem like there's quite a bit of innovation around the recycling of the materials and all the elements inside of them. But you would know better than anybody. So
yeah, no, look, I'd say the following: you can repackage any of these EV battery solutions and put them into a storage solution that could be operated at a grid level. Now, I think every large automaker is thinking this way. Nissan was really at the front of this over in Japan and actually created some storage solutions as a recycle from the Leaf that they had originally announced. So I think they're thinking about it. I think the real challenge will be around, how do you test that this battery hasn't been overused? Who's going to warranty this? Will Mercedes or Daimler or whomever, Porsche, do that when they start getting these batteries in a situation where they're below the optimal use case for an EV? And so there'll be some work to do, but I absolutely believe there will be a nice recycle into the grid side of the business. And I would venture to say that will be a very compelling uptick in the market size because they will be significantly lower cost than what we see today.
yeah, yeah. And then what about the competitive landscape? Give us an idea of sort of what that looks like, and how is STEM positioned in a pole position kind of way that they can really outpace the competition.
Yeah, I mean, look, we view ourselves as the market leader. We have extensive expertise in a variety of markets. As I mentioned it earlier, over 950 systems contracted or operating with our Athena software. Not a single system we sell does not include Athena. So everything has Athena associated with the hardware. As I mentioned earlier, global kind of scope on where we're going and can continue to grow. And I think the real differentiator for us is going to be the balance sheet. We have 500 million of cash now with this merger, zero debt, and according to Wood Mackenzie, the forecast of the storage market is to grow 25 times by 2030, which leads to little over a $1.2 trillion market opportunity. So there's this huge market that is really growing globally, and now we have the ability of the balance sheet to go after it. I mean, you hear some competitors, very large, particularly European utilities, but when you start to narrow it down, you realize that utility may not be backing the storage operation here in the United States, wherever else they might be, and they're out trying to raise capital. So our 500 million in balance sheet, I would say it might be the strongest balance sheet in the space right now on the storage side.
Gotcha. No, it's impressive. And as you said, you've only been at this for 8 years, which they might feel like dog years at some point. I would imagine that those are long 8 years. So congratulations on all your success.
Thank you.
John, I feel like I could talk to you all day long. Would love to have a beer with you. But in the meantime, anything else you want to add just for our audience as they think about STEM and energy and integrating renewables on the grid?
Yeah, look, I'm always up for a beer, so thanks for that. We'll do that at some point together. I'd say, look, our business continues to be really remarkable growth, the whole space, and our forecast or revenue growth of 50%, kind of long range forecast, we'll see more and more software associated with that, which will drive higher margins. I think you're going to see solar and storage tied with every project going forward. It'll drive and generate that massive market that I mentioned. And it's really an amazing opportunity that not many markets are out there with an opportunity at this scale. So look, I think the best days are ahead. We're going to continue to expand globally. And, from a legislative standpoint, I think the storage ITC will come into play. I'm not sure if it's this year or early next, but I think that'll really help also accelerate our growth. And Wood Mackenzie's talking about a 25% increase in TAM. So we're excited about it. Huge, bright future ahead, and looking forward to talk to you more about it in the days ahead. So thanks again for having me today. Really appreciate the opportunity.
Yeah, no, it's a real pleasure, and I hope you'll come back. So with that, for our audience, again, this is John Carrington. John is the CEO of STEM Inc., and I'm Drew Bond, the president and CEO of C3 Solutions. To learn more about us and to subscribe to our newsletter, please go to c3newsmag.com. Share this interview with all your friends on all your social media networks. And the more we get information and education out there, I think the more people understand the future of energy. So, John, thanks again, and hope you have a great day.
Thanks, you too.